Thank you, Asha. As you mentioned earlier, we received news from Syria today, from the Khabur region. 19 hostages were released, and it is confirmed. 21, I just heard. They were, released. Our prayers, God is hearing them. God knows that we are one of his chosen people. We're innocent. You know, we're not the same Assyrians that were around in 600 BC. We are a community of peaceful people without a land. And the only thing that ties us to that region is our name and our history and our culture. We need to keep our language alive. We need to stay together, unite as one. It doesn't matter what village you come from. It doesn't matter what millet you are. It doesn't matter. In the end, you're all Assyrian. That's all that matters at this point. You're all Assyrian. It doesn't matter what church you belong to, what God you believe in. You are an Assyrian. You are being targeted because you're Assyrian. And on top of that, you're being targeted because you are Christian. How sad is that? How sad is that no one will realize that we need help? I mean, we have militias out there. We have men that have joined these militias in the last few weeks, ever since ISIS entered into Iraq. And now, you know, they're in Syria. You've got our militia in Syria right now fighting for these villages, fighting for the livelihood of our people. And we need to do more. We need to do more from the West. We can't just sit here and say we're Assyrian. We can't just tattoo an Assyrian flag on us and say I'm an Assyrian. That doesn't make you Assyrian. What makes you an Assyrian is that you have that love, that passion, that burn in you, that all you want to do is help. You don't know those people in Syria, but when you opened up Facebook and when you got all those media messages from CNN and Newsweek and all of that, your heart burned. I started to cry at work. And they all looked at me and said, "Is it a family member?" And I said, "Yes. It's 400 of my family members. 400 of my people are missing, and I have no idea where they are. I have no idea what their status is. I don't know about the village that my grandfather was born in, or the village that Asher's grandmother was born in, or the villages of all your relatives. We didn't know the status. We had no idea. We had no idea. And all we could wait for was for news. You know, we had some false reports come in and out of the area, but we still had our contacts in that region. And our contacts today were the ones that verified that those hostages were freed. Our contacts were there with their iPhones, recording them coming back into the village. I don't want to release the name of the village that they were in. Most of you already know, as I do not want to put those people in danger. These people need us. These people need us to pray. They need us to close our eyes and be like children. Be like children, because children come with the most purest of hearts. There's no hate in them. They don't know the difference between what's a Kurdish person, what's a Yazidi, what's a Christian person, an Assyrian person. They have no idea. So we need to get down on our knees, and we need to pray to God, and we need to ask him for help. In 2 Corinthians 4:8-10, it basically says, "We are afflicted in every way, but not crushed, perplexed but not driven to despair, persecuted but not forsaken, struck down but not destroyed, always carrying in the body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be manifested in our bodies." Our love and commitment to Jesus Christ today is what has kept our culture alive, besides the fact that we call ourselves Assyrian. At this time, I'd like to invite St. Peter's Parish's choir to please lead us in a song.
Shlam Alochun. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mona Oshana. I was truly not prepared to speak today because I have done nothing but weep. And for those that are not familiar with these hymns or these sad songs, even you might not be understanding the words, but the Christian community, in particular the Assyrians, are very familiar with sadness. Very familiar with these atrocities that have continued to haunt us. And yet, we are still standing and surviving, and we are still moving because evil will not prevail. I invoke the voice from the grave today. And I quote a man very well during life, familiar with persecution, whom we just celebrated, one of the great men, last month in February, Black History Month, the great Martin Luther King Jr., who said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that." We must remain the light. Dr. Martin Luther King continues and said, "Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." Brothers and sisters, we must not allow the evil one to bring us to the level of hate. We must rise up and become the light, as Christ said. You are the light of the world. But what is more sad, and again I quote Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., "The ultimate tragedy is not that oppression and cruelty by the evil and bad people. That is not the oppression, but the silence over that by the good people. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter." He was speaking of all those who saw the persecution that he was going through and his community and said nothing. And so today I invoke the voice of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to say, why is the Christian community and the rest of the world community silent? 100 years this year marks the atrocities. These are the most recent atrocities, not all of them. I hold in my hand a flag that I've had for no less than about 20 years. It's broken, it's tattered, it's stained, and yet people say, wash it. I refuse to wash it because this flag has been with me and I carry it everywhere I go, in all the demonstrations and all the vigils. And as a result, the stains speak the story of how many vigils and persecutions and demonstrations we have been through. The silence of this flag tells our story. So I ask the international community, speak up. Today, there is 90% of our community that's standing around us are those that have families, those that personally are affected by this struggle. But this evil, this enemy, does not know me. It's not a me problem. It's an our problem. The enemy does not stand still nor stand down. It will come and knock on the doors of each and every free-loving society. And that is why the world community must come together. Silence is not an option, President Obama. We must see action. World communities and world governments. We have been abandoned. Why? Action, but not just by us, because the number that we are here, we can do nothing. What we need is action by those that are free-loving society. The Christians have been carrying the torch of humanity, of peacefulness, and meeting the enemy and defeating and battling the enemy head on for centuries. We have been, no, we are not politicians, and yet we have been fighting the fight up front and in the front lines. We are not weak. We have just been decimated. We have been obliterated. That is why we need the world community to join forces with us and fight this fight that is not mine, but ours. Thank you. As Christians, we have hope that we will not die, but rise like our Christ rose from the dead. This song, which we are about to sing in Aramaic, portrays that hope that we have. For those that have lost their lives, they are not dead, they are alive. ميثدمي خبت رشي ومن قوقا ربت قيمي وهوى صاو رونو خما الكل جن سدما يوثي فغراني